A bowl of cereal is the quickest breakfast in America. Pour it, add milk, and you are out the door. For millions of families, those colorful boxes feel safe, familiar, and harmless. But most people have no idea what is really inside them. Many of the most popular cereals in your pantry contain artificial dyes, excessive sugar, and heavily processed ingredients that can affect your energy, your metabolism, and your long-term health. These products reach you every single morning without you noticing. Today we reveal the 9 US cereal brands you should avoid, and the final one is the biggest shock of all. Number 9. Froot Loops. If there's one cereal that defined childhood mornings, it's Froot Loops. That bright rainbow of rings floating in milk, that sweet, fruity smell the moment you open the box. Toucan Sam promised to follow his nose to the best-tasting breakfast around. But here's what your nose won't tell you. Froot Loops is one of the most artificially engineered cereals on the market. Let's start with the colors. Those vibrant reds, yellows, greens, and oranges don't come from fruit. They come from petroleum-based dyes like red 40, yellow 6, and blue 1. These synthetic colorants have been linked in multiple studies to hyperactivity in children, and some countries in Europe have either banned or required warning labels on products containing them. Yet in the US, they're poured into a product marketed directly at kids. Then there's the sugar. A single 1-cup serving of Froot Loops contains around 12 grams of sugar. That's nearly 3 teaspoons before your child even finishes the bowl. And let's be honest, most kids don't stop at 1 cup. Double that serving and you're looking at 6 teaspoons of sugar first thing in the morning. The American Heart Association recommends children consume no more than 25 grams of added sugar per day. One large bowl of Froot Loops can wipe out nearly half of that limit before the school bus arrives. The base of the cereal is processed corn flour, stripped of fiber and nutrients, which spikes blood sugar quickly and leaves you hungry again within an hour. There's almost no protein, virtually no fiber, and nothing that resembles whole food nutrition. Despite the playful branding and fruity name, Froot Loops contains 0 actual fruit. It's a processed sugar delivery system dressed up in cartoon packaging. If you're trying to start your family's day with real energy, this rainbow belongs back on the shelf. But Froot Loops isn't the only offender hiding in plain sight. Up next, a chocolatey favorite that's even worse than it looks. Number 8. Cocoa Pebbles. For fans of the Flintstones, Cocoa Pebbles has always felt like a fun, nostalgic treat. Those tiny chocolate-flavored rice pieces that turn your milk into something resembling dessert. Kids love it. Parents remember it from their own childhoods. But when you flip that box around and examine what's actually inside, the Stone Age charm crumbles fast. Cocoa Pebbles is built on a foundation of refined rice, which offers almost no fiber, no protein, and very little nutritional value. The second ingredient listed is sugar. In fact, a single serving contains around 10 grams of sugar packed into just 3/4 of a cup. That's an incredibly small portion for such a heavy sugar load, and most people pour far more than that into their bowl. The chocolate flavor doesn't come from high-quality cocoa. It comes from processed cocoa blended with artificial flavors and sweeteners designed to mimic richness without the real thing. Add in caramel color, which has raised concerns in some health studies about potential carcinogenic byproducts. And you've got a recipe that prioritizes taste engineering over genuine nutrition. What makes Cocoa Pebbles particularly deceptive is the portion size. Because the cereal is so small and light, it's easy to pour 2 or even 3 servings without realizing it. Suddenly, you're consuming 30 grams of sugar in one sitting, almost the entire daily recommended limit for an adult, and well over what any child should have at breakfast. There's also virtually nothing in this cereal to slow digestion. No fiber to keep blood sugar stable, no protein to sustain energy. Just a rapid spike followed by a crash that leaves kids hungry, irritable, and reaching for more snacks before lunch. Cocoa Pebbles might taste like a treat, but nutritionally it's closer to candy than breakfast. And the next cereal on our list, it's been scraping the roof of your mouth and your health for decades. Number 7. Cap'n Crunch. There's no mistaking that golden yellow box. Cap'n Crunch has been a breakfast staple since the 1960s, famous for staying crunchy in milk long after other cereals turned to mush. But that signature crunch comes at a serious cost, and it's not just the roof of your mouth that suffers. The first thing you'll notice on the ingredient list is corn flour, followed almost immediately by sugar and oat flour. Then comes corn syrup, brown sugar, and more sweeteners layered on top. In a single 3/4 cup serving, you're consuming around 12 grams of sugar. That's the same as eating 3 chocolate chip cookies for breakfast. And just like those cookies, Cap'n Crunch delivers a sharp blood sugar spike followed by a crash that leaves you tired and craving more. But sugar isn't the only problem. Cap'n Crunch contains artificial flavors and a cocktail of processed ingredients designed to create that addictive taste and texture. The yellow coloring comes from synthetic dyes, and the cereal is heavily processed using methods that strip away any trace of whole grain nutrition. There's virtually no fiber to speak of, almost no protein. What you're left with is a highly refined carbohydrate bomb that your body treats almost identically to pure sugar. Over the years, Cap'n Crunch has also drawn criticism for its aggressive marketing to children. Bright colors, a cartoon mascot, and promises of adventure in every bite. It's textbook food marketing designed to build brand loyalty before kids are old enough to read a nutrition label. Despite decades of loyalty from fans, Cap'n Crunch offers nothing your body actually needs in the morning. It's a crunchy, sweet, processed product that belongs more in the candy aisle than the cereal aisle. Speaking of deceptive marketing, the next cereal hides its worst ingredient in plain sight. Those little marshmallows, they're the real problem. Number 6, Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious. That jingle has been stuck in the heads of American kids for over 50 years, and with its combination of oat pieces and colorful marshmallows, Lucky Charms has always felt like a playful compromise. Part cereal, part treat. But here's the truth. Those little marshmallow shapes aren't a harmless addition. They're the reason this cereal lands firmly on the avoid list. Let's break it down. The oat pieces themselves aren't terrible. Whole grain oats provide some fiber and nutrients. But the marshmallows, which General Mills calls marbits, are essentially pure sugar combined with modified cornstarch, artificial colors, and artificial flavors. We're talking about dyes like red 40, yellow 5 and 6, and blue 1, the same synthetic petroleum-based colorants that have sparked health concerns across Europe. A single cup of Lucky Charms contains around 12 grams of sugar. That might not sound catastrophic until you realize how much of that comes from the marshmallows alone. You're basically eating candy mixed with oats and calling it breakfast. In 2022, the cereal made headlines for an entirely different reason. Thousands of consumers reported experiencing nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea after eating Lucky Charms. The FDA launched an investigation after receiving over 100 complaints. While no official recall was issued, the incident damaged trust and raised serious questions about quality control. Beyond the controversy, the nutritional profile is weak. There's only about 2 grams of fiber and 2 grams of protein per serving. That's not nearly enough to sustain energy or satisfy hunger. Most kids end up snacking again within an hour or two because the cereal digests so quickly. Lucky Charms markets the magic, but what it delivers is sugar, artificial dyes, and a breakfast that does your body almost no favors. And if you think that's bad, wait until you see what's inside America's sweetest cereal. This next one is more dessert than breakfast. Number 5, Honey Smacks. Here's a cereal that doesn't even try to pretend it's healthy. Honey Smacks, formerly known as Sugar Smacks, has earned a reputation as one of the most sugar-loaded cereals ever sold in America. And when you look at the actual numbers, that reputation is well-deserved. A single serving of Honey Smacks is over 50% sugar by weight. Let that sink in. More than half of what you're eating is pure sugar. A 3/4 cup serving contains around 15 grams of sugar, which is nearly 4 teaspoons in a tiny portion. Pour a normal-sized bowl, and you could easily consume 6 to 8 teaspoons of sugar before you've finished your coffee. The base of the cereal is puffed wheat, which sounds wholesome until you realize it's been stripped of most of its fiber and coated in multiple layers of sweetener. The ingredient list includes sugar, honey, and glucose syrup, all working together to create that intensely sweet, almost candy-like taste. There's virtually no protein, barely any fiber, and nothing to slow the rapid blood sugar spike that follows every bowl. But Honey Smacks made headlines for more than just its sugar content. In 2018, the cereal was linked to a major salmonella outbreak that affected over 100 people across 36 states. The CDC issued warnings urging consumers to throw away any Honey Smacks in their homes, and Kellogg's was forced to issue a nationwide recall. It was one of the largest cereal-related health scares in recent memory. Despite the recall, Honey Smacks returned to shelves and continues to be marketed alongside other breakfast cereals as if nothing happened. When more than half of your cereal is sugar and it comes with a history of contamination, there's no reason to keep it in your pantry. Next up, a cereal that hides behind a friendly tiger but delivers one of the emptiest breakfasts you can eat. Number 4, Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger has been telling us they're great for decades. And on the surface, Frosted Flakes seems almost innocent compared to the more colorful marshmallow-filled cereals on this list. Just simple corn flakes with a frosted coating. How bad could it be? The answer, worse than you think. Frosted Flakes starts with milled corn, which is already a refined grain stripped of fiber and nutrients. But the real problem's what comes next. Those flakes are coated in sugar, and lots of it. A single 1-cup serving contains around 12 grams of sugar, roughly 3 teaspoons. And because the flakes are light and airy, most people pour much more than 1 cup, easily doubling that sugar intake without realizing it. The nutritional profile is alarmingly empty. There's less than 1 gram of fiber per serving and only about 1 gram of protein. That means your body burns through this cereal almost instantly, spiking your blood sugar and then crashing hard. The result? Hunger, fatigue, and cravings long before lunch. What makes Frosted Flakes particularly deceptive is the health halo effect. Because it lacks the crazy colors and cartoon marshmallows of other kids' cereals, parents often assume it's a safer choice. Kellogg's has leaned into this by marketing Frosted Flakes to athletes and active families, creating the illusion that it's fuel for performance. In reality, it's just sugar on corn. There's also the sheer scale of the brand's influence. Frosted Flakes is one of the best-selling cereals in America, which means millions of families are starting their day with a product that offers almost nothing nutritionally. Tony might call them great, but the truth is far less impressive. Frosted Flakes is a textbook example of a processed cereal masquerading as a reasonable breakfast. The next cereal on our list takes the disguise even further, using beloved candy branding to sell you sugar for breakfast. Number 3. Reese's Puffs. Peanut butter and chocolate for breakfast? For many kids, Reese's Puffs is a dream come true. The cereal leans heavily into its connection with the famous candy brand, and the marketing makes no secret of it. But what sounds like a fun treat is actually one of the most nutritionally hollow cereals on supermarket shelves. Let's start with the ingredients. The base is whole grain corn, which sounds healthy until you realize it's heavily processed and combined with sugar, corn syrup, and dextrose. That's 3 different sweeteners in one product. A single serving contains around 9 grams of sugar, and because the puffs are light and easy to overeat, most bowls end up with far more. Then there's the fat content. Unlike most cereals, Reese's Puffs contains added oils, including canola oil, which is used to help create that creamy peanut butter flavor. While the box might suggest real peanut butter, the actual peanut content is minimal. What you're mostly tasting is a combination of processed oils, artificial flavors, and sweeteners engineered to mimic the candy bar experience. The nutritional payoff is almost non-existent. There's only about 1 gram of fiber per serving, and roughly 2 grams of protein. That's nowhere near enough to keep you satisfied or stabilize your energy through the morning. You're essentially eating flavored sugar puffs with a thin peanut butter illusion. What's especially concerning is the marketing. Reese's Puffs targets kids and teens aggressively, using hip-hop music, bright visuals, and the Reese's brand recognition to make candy for breakfast feel normal. It blurs the line between snack and meal in a way that sets up lifelong unhealthy eating habits. If you love Reese's, enjoy the actual candy as an occasional treat. But this cereal has no place in a healthy breakfast routine. Next is a cereal that uses fruit in the name, but contains none at all. Number 2. Apple Jacks. The name says apple. The box shows bright red and green rings that look like they might contain something fruity. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Apple Jacks contains no real apple whatsoever. It's one of the most misleading cereals on the market, and once you look at what's actually inside, the illusion falls apart completely. The first ingredient is corn flour, followed immediately by sugar. Then comes more corn in different forms, oat fiber for a token amount of texture, and a long list of artificial additives. The apple flavor? Completely synthetic. It comes from artificial flavoring compounds, designed to trick your taste buds into believing there's fruit involved. There isn't. A single serving of Apple Jacks delivers around 10 grams of sugar in just 1 cup. That's 2.5 teaspoons of added sugar, with virtually nothing beneficial to balance it out. There's only about 1 gram of protein and barely any fiber. Like most cereals on this list, it digests rapidly, spikes your blood sugar, and leaves you crashing before mid-morning. The coloring is another concern. Those red and green rings get their shades from synthetic dyes like red 40 and yellow 6, both of which have been associated with behavioral issues in children in various studies. Some parents have reported noticeable changes in their kids' focus and hyperactivity after eating brightly colored cereals like Apple Jacks. What's frustrating is how the branding leans into the fruit angle. The name, the visuals, the entire identity of Apple Jacks is built around the idea of apples, yet there's literally nothing from an actual apple in the product. It's pure marketing illusion backed by corn, sugar, and lab-made flavors. Apple Jacks might taste nostalgic, but it belongs on your avoid list. And finally, the number one cereal you should absolutely stop buying. This one is processed from top to bottom. Number 1, Trix. Silly rabbit, Trix are for kids. That slogan has been burned into American pop culture for generations. But here's what the commercials never told you. Trix is one of the most heavily processed cereals ever created, and almost every single ingredient in the box is industrially manufactured. Let's start with the base. Trix is made from corn flour and cornmeal, both refined and stripped of their natural fiber and nutrients. From there, the cereal is shaped into colorful puffs using sugar, corn syrup, and a blend of artificial flavors. The bright colors that make Trix so recognizable come from synthetic dyes, including red 40, yellow 6, and blue 1. These petroleum-based colorants have been linked in research to hyperactivity and behavioral issues in children, and they're banned or restricted in several countries outside the US. 1 cup of Trix contains around 10 grams of sugar. That's roughly 2.5 teaspoons of added sweetener before you've even finished your first bowl. There's almost no fiber, virtually no protein, and nothing resembling whole food nutrition. What you're eating is essentially corn, sugar, and dye shaped into puffs and marketed as breakfast. But here's what makes Trix especially concerning. Every major component of this cereal is industrially processed. The grains are refined, the sweeteners are manufactured, the flavors are synthetic, the colors are artificial. There's no single ingredient in Trix that comes close to resembling real food. It's engineered from start to finish to be cheap, shelf-stable, and hyper-palatable to kids. General Mills has made small adjustments over the years, briefly removing artificial dyes before bringing them back due to consumer complaints about the natural version's appearance. That tells you everything about priorities: looks over health. Trix is the ultimate example of a cereal that exists purely because of marketing, not nutrition. If you're looking for a clean start to the day, this is the first box to remove from your pantry.